Hey, I never seen anybody on the Utabi do any content similar to this, so I might as well kick things off myself. Okay, let's go all the way to the end. Weep. All right. Right. Hey, what's up? Every person's account is unique. I'm gonna go through my own journey in Arknights and for archiving purposes, I suppose, to remember exactly what to remember precisely what my journey was so far, just in case I forget in the future. I'm going to forget soon. I have a bad feeling, so I'm gonna do it now. Okay, Amiya, very first unit I got. Yeah, hooray! And these three bozos join in the tutorial. You're allowed a free pool in your account, and the first unit I ever pulled was Matacon. The way it's not leveled. Here's Batman. Alright, moving forward. Basically getting assembling all of these units, these standard fare units that everyone will get. Courier was part of the friend, what's that called? The friend token exchange shop, I think. He came up after you started meddling with your DOMs, getting friend tokens that you can exchange for, and he just came around. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have him, but I'm not sure. Anyway, after Orchid would be my first pools. These units over here are the 4 stars and the 6 star that I pulled from the beginner banner. As you can see, it's Haze, it's Doberman, Matoi Maru, Moose, Deep Color, and Siege. Yes, my first 6 star is Siege. The more you know. Alright, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Alright, Lancet 2. Lancet 2 joins the fray. Vanilla as well. I think Vanilla is like the only unit that's not leveled among my 3 stars. Yes, she's the only one who's at level 5. Everyone is level 55. She's Batman. Anyway. Moving along. Stewart, Shaw. You get Shaw as a reward for clearing the story stages, I believe. And all of these other units were slowly and gradually unlocked during the 10 pools as well. Texas was a reward from the game for playing for a set period of time. So is Cliffheart in a sense, but wait, no. Texas was from story stages, I believe. She's still pot 5 though. I hope I can get the pot 6 eventually. That way I can really ramp up my DP production in high risk CCs. Not that I participate that much in high risk CCs anyway because I'm busy, but yeah. Lots of 4 stars as you can see. Susuro joining the fray, not bad. It's around this time where I decided, trying to pull for the Heart of Surging Flame banner. And that's where I got these 4 units, I think. Gravel, Rope, Meteor, and Frostleaf. Sorry, not Frostnova. Oh no, the fields. After I pulled for that, Texas came along. I tried pulling the remaining, what's that called again? I tried pulling for the remaining 10 pulls that you get from the beginner banner. Susuro, Vermeil, Korra, and these 2 5 stars joined the fray. Yeah, I got 2 5 stars. What do you know? Haha. Okay. Anyway, Gaviel joined me afterwards from part of the friends list. I think, yes, the friend token exchange thing that you get from friends. That was around the time where Heart of Surging Flame was there, so you can see Ceylon's my first event unit, not bad at all. Cliffheart was there because, this was 1 week into my game and so on. Shirayuki joined the fray, finally managed to pull Catapult, Popkaru, Cardigan, Spot, and I believe there was one more 3-star that joined much later. I don't know how much later, but he joined much later. Anyway, yeah, just pulling for these banners, trying my best to break through the stages. I couldn't clear Heart of Surging Flame all the way to the end. Stopped at the OF EX4. Couldn't push past any further because my team wasn't up to speed. Most of them were like I don't know, choppy in terms of levels and so on. After that, after that Heart of Surging Flame passed, I moved along, decided, oh, there's a new banner, featuring this panda girl, Feta, Ferrum Eater, 石铁兽. So basically, I just tried pulling for her. Got Scavenger, Glaucus. That's when Cardigan and Spot showed up. Got Grey. Grey was during Code of Brawl, I think. Yes. So this was around the time where Code of Brawl started. I pulled for Grey. I got Spectre. I got Feeder. I also got Spot. Not bad at all. Skyfire and Sora joined a little bit later. I'm not sure if I pulled them during Code of Brawl. I think so, yes. They came around at the second week of Code of Brawl when I was trying to pull for a decent unit like Exia, but I never got Exia. And if you'll excuse me for the anger that I'll show later. Anyway, Shining decided to drop by, not bad at all. Second 6-star, not a bad unit per se, at least in late game, but early game wise, it was so crushing that I only ever had Shining and Siege to carry me throughout most of the game, which is, yeah, you can see my history very well. Okay, Ethan came along and so did Durna. These two were, well, this one was from the Raid Certificate shop. This one was from friend tokens, not bad at all. So yeah, what's that called? Croissant came around. Mayor popped by in the recruit. The first time I got Mayor in recruit because I saw summon, I was like, oh, does that summon tag give me deep color? No, it gave me Mayor, which was nice. May came along as well and finally got my final 3-star Midnight. Not bad at all. Bison was exchanged for when the event was over. So yeah, he came a little bit late. Firewatch over here, not a bad pick. In fact, Firewatch was the MVP for the CC beta. As you can guess, since I started playing in Heart of Surging Flame, I was assembling my team already. You can see from here. I had Shaw, I had Gravel to bait attacks. I had where was she? I had what's her name? Ferrum Eater, Feeder. Aside from these three, I also got what's that called? Also got Firewatch, and I got Raid, which is pretty good. But yeah, you can see from the history over here, as you can see, Thylopsis, Raid, it was basically Specialist Knights. I somehow lucked out and landed on Specialists, and landed a lot on the Specialist Knights, and yeah, they basically carried me through the CC beta period. Not bad at all. Chen and Angelina. Oh, this was beautiful. Okay, I got Chen when I was just pulling a random banner. No, the banner right before CC. The moment I got her, I was like, let's go! And I could, what's that called? And I could use her for, not only for burst strats, but also for a lot of other different things, including heli drop strats, which made her that much more valuable. Then I also got Angelina. If you remember, CC Beta had this joint banner where it was Chen, Angelina, Silver Ash? No, I don't remember who the other two units were, but I'm pretty sure they were important. But yeah, you can see from here, Chen, Angelina, Shining, and Siege were my only 6 stars back then. It was pretty rough, but it was also a pretty fun period, not gonna lie. Okay, Estelle joined the fray, Bee Hunter as well. I got my first Vulcan around the period of CC. During the CC period, I managed to clear CC Beta Risk 18 with these teams. I didn't get Manticore because I borrowed Manticore for my CC strat. She contributed a lot with Ethan to, slow the units, keep them in place, and keep everyone healthy. I also remembered leveling her, Thylopsis, specifically to, hang on, let me switch back for a moment. I remember leveling her specifically to E2 level 41, because at E2 level 41, Tylopsis had exactly 1443 HP, and each of the casters from CC beta would attack you for 720 damage per attack. So it's when I leveled her precisely to E2 level 41 that my Tylopsis could survive 2 attacks from the casters without dying with 3 HP remaining. Back then I was like really crunching the stats and like planning out exactly how strong I want my units to be. It was a lot more chaotic. It wasn't all multiples of 5 as you see it now. It was a hectic time. Anyway, Hoshiguma came around in the banner right after CC. Not bad at all. She basically helped me for CC0. Yes, Baron Land. Was it Baron Land? Hang on, wait, no. I think so. It was CC0. Baron Lands. Yeah, Baron Lands. Alright. Meteorite came around, Liscam came around as well, Broca was a nice addition to the team. This was around the period where, what was that event called? Ancient Forge, I think. Ancient Forge came around. Snow Sun is still one of the most powerful units ever, at least in my opinion. Her talent over here allows her to change the allows her to increase her shift strength when she's pulling infected. This might not seem like much because most of the infected tend to be light, except when you consider the Originium Dust event, which is the event where the Rainbow Six Siege members arrived in Terra, and they had these wait for infected monsters that she could pull into the holes because her shift strength was 3, and if you use a pull strength of 3 on a unit of weight 4, you can move them a significant amount of tiles. She basically was the only puller, or rather the only hook master, who could reach a shift strength of 3, which is pretty telling. Pretty good. Okay, right. Ancient Forge. You might have noticed something interesting here, and I will just say it right here. Nian without Hang. You're not seeing this wrongly. Nian over here was an interesting unit because I got her in 13 pools, I think. 13 pools. After that, just casually pulling for guarantees here and there. I got Neil. As you can see, there's no Saria yet, so yeah, my early game was pretty scuffed. No Saria, none of the more useful healers at that time. It was fairly painful. I got Skadi, who I just kept at E0 for like a large period of time, at least until recently, where I raised her to E2 and gave her S3 M3. Debating on whether I should raise her S2 M3 because I'm not really that big of a fan of using her S2, but who am I to say whether it's the right or wrong choice? Alright, Manticore, she helped to slow units. I got my own Manticore, and I celebrated by raising her immediately to S1 M3 right away. Straight up, no breaks or pauses there. Leizi over here, Nightingale, and Bybeak were obtained during CC1, I think. What was CC1 called again? I can't remember. Oh god, it's been so long. Pyrite? Or CC1 Pyrite? I think so, yes. CC1 was Pyrite, I think. Was it? Hang on. Let me think. No, I'm pretty sure Pyrite was much later. Was that the one I'm thinking about? I think so. Anyway, I think CC Pyrite was much later when I got Eyjafjalla over there. Basically I got Bybeak. I think she was a Barren Lands reward. So, what's that called? I got Manticore. I cleared risk 20 on CC0. I traded for Bybeak, got Nightingale. This was still Barren Lands period, I think. Platinum, Perfumer, And then something interesting happened was that that was when the Ursus Survivors event rolled around. Ian's what's that called? Ian's timeline was a little different from the what's the name I'm looking for? Ian's timeline was a little bit different from China from the Chinese servers. So I could technically get Rosa early on. As you can see, she's like my she's the six star. That makes her very unique already. 66, yes sir. Okay. I got Rosa, which is pretty nice. Ursus event came around. After Ursus event, I think I got Ifrit. Caesar came and spooked me off banner, I think. After that, I got Ea Fiola and Warfarin, as well as Castle 3. This was right around the time where CC1 was coming around. Pyrite, yes. After that, I mouthed so hard over CC1 Pyrite because I didn't really have units to help me clear it. But as you can see over here, I've had access to Ifrit and to Ea Fiola, but I didn't raise them that high up until, right around CC1 was there, and that was when Suzerain was pulled. So CC1 came right after Suzerain and before Shamare, I think. Yes, so during this period, I just sort of pulled casually. I got Tsukinogi, got Click. Asbestos was a nice and welcome change. In fact, Asbestos was introduced during CC1 Pirate, wasn't she? Yeah, so I got an off-banner Suzu during CC1 Pyrite, and I raised her so I could try and clear CC1. But CC1 was such a nightmare for me. Jesus Christ, I still remember it right now. Basically, I was trying to go with this strat where Angelina, one of my earlier 6 stars, where are you? You're somewhere here. Yes, Angelina would use her S3 in order to beat the enemy. Basically slow down the waves, try and take them out and so on. I was trying pretty hard to deal with it, but it wasn't that easy. It really wasn't that easy because the thing with it is, during that during the period where I tried to clear CC1 Pyrite, I did it like 500 over attempts. I was trying to get perfect RNG, but I never really got it. What happened was that Warfarin was positioned in a spot where she could heal both Angelina as well as Suzerain. So the thing with it is, when the 4 really strong waves come in the middle of the CC1 stage, I would use Suzu in order to hold the enemies in place. Slow them down, keep them within the range. And the idea was that I would use Warfarin over here to buff the attack of Angelina with a 50-50 roll. And this 50-50 roll will effectively help to increase the damage output that Angelina will deal onto those waves. But it never landed. It's like, I'm so mad. It's like I couldn't get the perfect RNG to sit with me. I tried like so long. I tried like over 50, 70 attempts of like having the Warfarin S2 buff land on Suzerain. Like out of 100 attempts, 70 something of them landed on Suzerain. I don't know what was wrong with the RNG seed of that stage. Something was cracked there. I swear to God, something was really cracked there. But yeah, I mouthed so hard over it. But in the end, I decided, you know what? Let's just change strategies and use guards instead. Use physical damage dealers instead of using arts damage dealers. I swapped to Chen instead, and Chen really did give me a run for money. She was the hard carry for CC1 Pyrite with her S3 at M1. Her S3 at M1 basically helped me to beat the stage reliably, to a degree that I'm proud to say that she's one of my favorite units even now. Yes, I like Chen. I like her enough to raise her to E2 level 88, which is like the hallmark for a unit I enjoy playing. That's basically the hallmark for a unit I respect and enjoy playing to the degree that I raise them to that high. Anyway, rambling. Kata, Siriloka, and Shamare came around during the Arknights memoir event, I believe. Somewhere around there. No, slightly before that, I think. Slightly before that. I remember that WD and W came together, and Shamari came right before the W and WD event. That was Phantom's event, I think. Never really got Phantom, which was kind of sad because you saw from earlier that I had a lot of specialists. But Phantom just wouldn't show, not until much later. Anyway, where was I? Over here, right. After I got Shamare, then the New Year's came around, and everyone got a free Savage. I didn't play from like the very first day of this game, so I never really got my first Savage. This was where I got my first copy of Savage. Then after that, the Arknights memoir event came around. There was W, there was Weedy. Yeah, basically I just put in that banner. I got 7 copies, 8 copies. I don't remember. I got multiple copies of Elysium, enough to bring him to pot 6. Weedy over here is at pot 3. Yes, you're not saying this wrongly. She's at pot 3, which meant she was usable for the CC4 strat of stalling. Yes, I'm very proud of that. Very happy. And I got 1 copy of W. So, 3 copies of Weedy, 1 copy of W, a lot of Elysiums, and it was generally a very fun time for me. Also got an off-banner Chiave there for some reason. That was around the time where Therm EX was introduced into the recruit pool. I just went with it and got Therm EX. He's now at pot 6, but it took a while to get him to pot 6, honestly. I'm not gonna discuss the whole idea there though. Moving along next, Thorn's event, right. Okay, Beeswax over here was... I don't remember which event Beeswax was from. Oh god, my head hurts. It's been way too long. Anyway. This was around the time where CC2 came around, I think. So the banner right before CC2, I managed to get a Beeswax. And then during the Thorns event, which you can see over here, I got Thorns before J. That was when I tried to pull for Guaranteed. The second pull in that banner, I happened to get Thorns. What? And the third pull in that banner, I just happened to get J right after. So I was like, oh yeah, 3 pulls. I can dip out. I don't have to pull any more copies. I don't need to raise their potentials. I'm not looking for like super high risk CC. I'm not going to pay for like that exorbitant amount just to be able to participate in the game that vivaciously. Scene came around during CC2 Blade, I think. CC2 Blade was interesting. I managed to get risk 22 there, I think. Yes, risk 22. Mostly, as you can see from here, I had Weedy, and I used the Weedy strat with Liscam, whom I got much earlier in the game, around here. No, not there. Around here, yes, after I got Hoshiguma. So yeah, I had Weedy, I had that, I had Angelina to reduce their weight. I had a lot of things going well for me, but I never got a bagpipe, so I had to borrow a bagpipe for CC2 Blade. Managed to clear it up to risk 22, feeling nice, but not exactly very pleasant. Since I had this suspicion that I could go further, but that was when my school was starting and I couldn't participate in the game as actively as I used to, unfortunately. After that, Gaviel's event came around. I tried to pull for Eunectus, never saw Eunectus, and I still haven't seen Eunectus to this day. Greythroat came around in the banner, and Tomimi was the welfare unit, not bad at all. I got acid drop to break through to pot 6 though, and to Elite 1. I've been thinking about whether I want to bring her to Elite 2. It increases the base damage that she can deal, which is not a bad investment, honestly. There are some stages where having minimum damage is more important than trying to increase your damage as much as possible, especially when you have stages like the what's that called? The Mariel Nil stages, I think, where you have these crossbowmen with 3,000 defense. No matter how hard you buff your own units, you're not getting past that easily without any, significant help. And that's when Acid Drop and Franca and Project Raid would have come in handy, because they have abilities to deal minimum damage or at least negate defense where needed, where necessary. Not a bad investment at all. Right, Flint, Arene, I just got them casually, I think. Not really that vivacious in their pooling. April banner came around, I got her. I managed to get her to pot 6 for some reason, because I think there was a banner where Bagpipe was around, and I tried pulling for Bagpipe. I got a couple of copies of Bagpipe. I think I got two of them. Yeah, I got 2 Bagpipes and one Nightingale, I think, all the way at the front over here. I got 2 Bagpipes and a pot for Nightingale, if I can find her. Yes, that was when I got pot 2 Nightingale, and that was when I got Bagpipe pot 2 as well. I was feeling pretty happy, since I finally got like the most busted unit back then during CC3 and so on. Hung finally joined my roster after a few banners, like about 5-6 of them, I think. Nian banner was over here. There was CC, there was Phantom banner, there was W banner, there's Gaviel's banner, and then there was what's it called? This joint banner, I think, for before CC3. And that's when I got Bagpipe, Schwartz, and Hung. Unfortunately, nobody likes Hung. Delete Hung. Not even Hung likes Hung, man. Just get rid of him. He's the worst. I'm not going to say that he's a terrible medic, but he's the worst in terms of character design, I think. It's not so pleasant to the eyes. Yeah, I don't know. He's a weird mishmash between serious and cartoonish goofy. I can't make up my mind with that. Anyway, this was also around the time where I got Schwartz and Provence. I finally got my high power short range and high power snipers. The basically this heavy shooter branch of units. That was when I got them, and I was like, I got Provence, but I also got Schwartz. Do I really need to raise both of them? Spoilers, I did. And other spoilers, I don't want to talk about that. No, go away. Go away. Bury that away. No, it's a dark history. 黒歴史 No, terrible. 不要提，别提它 No. Okay. Finally got Pramanix. Yeah, I got my second of the Silver Ash siblings. Pramanix finally came. Aya's Cup was interesting. I managed to get him to pot 4, but I never raised him. I think Aya's Cup came during Suit's banner, and I managed to get 1 copy of Suit over here. After about 140 pulls, I think. So in 140 pulls, I managed to get 4 of you and 2 of you. It wasn't a bad exchange, I think. Mint was the free unit, but I can't remember which banner this was. Oh god, I can't remember what event Suitor came. Was it the one where you reminisce about memories or something like that, I guess? Not too sure. April Fools came around. Convict Dama. I'm debating on whether or not I want to raise it, him, her. It, basically. I was debating whether or not I wanted to raise it for what's it called, IS during that time, but I decided against it, and I raised him only to E1 level 5 in order for him to start producing tickets for the base. However, when IS2 rolled around, I decided to raise him to E1 level 60. If I want to E2 him, I have him ready to be E2. I just need to craft a couple of these and farm 1 of these, and I'll be ready to go. I kind of like its playstyle. Kind of the sort of high rolling RNG aspect is very fun. But on the other hand, doing it on a roguelike is kind of suicide, but that's kind of the point, If you can't have fun there, you can't have fun anywhere. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Oh, okay. Okay. Jackie and Babu came around, and that was when what's it called? That was during one of the banners. I don't remember which one it was, but I think it was during Marianne Neal's event. Yes, yeah. Wishlash, wish, we, wish, slash, we. Zofia. That was when Zofia became the welfare unit, and yeah. I'm not gonna talk about that. I can't English today. Get away from me. Anyway, after the Maria Neal event, I put a few guarantees, a few guaranteed manners. I managed to get Istina over here. Somehow managed to get one copy of her, and then proceed to get like a bunch of copies of her, through recruitment. I don't know what happened to recruitment, but it was cracked. Managed to get her to like pot 5, she came so late. And meanwhile, I have like other, what's it called? I have like other pot. I have like, what's it called? I have like 5 stars who only have pot 1, like Grey Throat, that I've never touched. I have no idea how Istina got this lucky, but the Bookie Bear got her time to shine. She's part of Bear Knights, and now that I have the whole Bear Knights team assembled, I, play around a little bit. There are people on YouTube who have really done Bear Knights, so I wasn't like wholly invested on it, but I still like the idea of bringing Istina every now and then. Since Since it's a very nice sort of budget Angelina with her S2. The other thing with it is that because Angelina reduces weight, she actually has counter synergy with my waifu. My waifu being Rosa. And since Rosa relies on enemies having more weight, because Angelina was removing weight from them, I couldn't get the arts damage down without removing the sort of penetration buff that Rosa had. So yeah, I had times where I swapped to Istina in order to protect in order to protect myself from having to reduce the weights of the weight 3 enemies. Whisper Rain was an interesting addition. I decided to raise her as opposed to raising Ceylon. Ceylon was a nice unit and all, but the situational aspects of her skill, namely that her S1 only grants resistance every time the skill manages to activate, rather than with every heal. And Ceylon's S2 also required her to have an uptime. Ceylon's S2 had an uptime for the resistance that was being granted. Whisper Rain, on the other hand, had a permanent permanent resistance granting on both of her skills. You can see over here, it grants status resistance every 2 attacks. Every 2 heals, the next heal will activate her skills, which is pretty good. Also, offensive recovery is quite useful as well, because you might not respect her S1 as much, because her S2 just seems like a much better choice overall, but there are potentials for her S1 actually, especially when you consider IS2 and how it has a few buffs that increases your attack dramatically when you have skill activations. So when you get the spaghetti or the spinach buff in IS2, you can use her S1, which is pretty nice. And I'm glad I invested in Whisper Rain. I got 3 copies of her apparently. Very, very pleasant. This was around the time where Rosmonti's banner came around. I managed to get a Mud Rock. I managed to get Mud. Looks pretty nice. I think I have I have her skin currently for the Korokos, but I personally like the newer skin that's going to come out for her. Not this one, which is unfortunate because I really spent the money on Mud. Anyway, Silver Ash finally showed his face, his terrible, miserable face. I've made it an active effort not to use Silver Ash in any of my runs. Yeah, if you've seen me on Discord before, I'm that guy who actively avoided using Silver Ash, saying, he's kind of unhealthy for the meta, removes like the ability for the doctors to think, and I still stand by that statement, because his S3 doesn't need too much brain power. Deploy him, make sure he's not being taunted, make sure he's not the last deployed, so the taunt effect doesn't apply on him, and then use his S3 when he's surrounded by, units that can protect him and heal him and so on. Not a very difficult unit to use in that sense. The plus side is that his heli drop potential is pretty high, and I've been debating on whether or not I want to raise him to E2 or not, because frankly speaking, I respect his invisibility reveal, and I probably need it for a future stage. For example, any annihilation, there was a future annihilation where enemies had stealth, and I might raise him to E2 then, but I still don't raise him to E2 now. I still don't believe in Silver Ash. I still don't want to raise him. Meanwhile, his sister Anya, or Ansia, I can't remember. Meanwhile, his sister Cliffheart gets E2 recognition, and oh shit. That wasn't supposed to happen. Meanwhile, his sister is Enya gets recognition. Although I can't say much for this sister, unfortunately. I might want to E to her eventually, because she's part of my she's part of my 16 operators run, so I might want to E to her eventually. It's just, it takes a while. And the funny thing is that her talent at E2 sort of removes the utility of her E1, of her skill 1. Her skill 1 allows her to attack 2 targets simultaneously, but her talent already does that. So, I have no idea. Ansia's kit is just awkward for me in general. Also, I like Shamari and Suzuran more than Pramanix, unfortunately. And her limited range is also a problem. Suzuran can solve that because of her, her range expansion when her S3 is active, but not so much for Pramanix. And she doesn't have a portable doll that can move around, so it's very confined. It's hard to justify using Pramanix, although I do recognize that she has great potential in reducing the enemy's resistance and so on. Right, I don't remember when CC4 was. CC4 was Lead Seal, I think. Was Lead Seal before or after Task Event? I don't remember. Anyway. Oh, finally got my Saria. Took a long time, but she's finally come home. She's like my 11th 6-star, I think. Let me count actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, never mind. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. She's my 17th 6-star. That took a while, but she finally came home. And I don't know why I M9 her, because I looked to her S2 quite a lot during my earlier days, where medics were kind of awkward. They didn't have like the sort of range that Whisperine could provide. So I decided, you know what, I might as well use Saria's S2, raise it up to max, so I don't have to rely on Whisperine all the time. Spoilers, I ended up relying on Whisperine more, so Saria's S2 was a meme. I didn't need the investment in S2 M3, but I did it anyway. Feels bad. Alright, Beanstalk. Right. Beanstalk event. Which one was that? I don't remember. Robin's event. Right, Robin and Beanstalk came out during Men's Field Break, I think. Yes. Men's Field Break. So that was Mountains banner. I didn't get the 5-star and I didn't get the 6-star. I just got Beanstalk and I got the welfare operator Robin. Robin was fairly powerful. I raised her S1 to M3 immediately. It's only recently that I decided to raise her S2 to M3 as well. Particularly during during the what's that called? During the Kirak event. Yes, the Kirak event needed, had these ice tiles and enemies stepping on the traps would bounce them around. Yeah, you know that one. Yeah, yeah, boy. That's the only reason I raised S2 to M3. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Magalan finally showed her face around here. 2-year, was the CC4 Lead Seals welfare unit, I think. After that, I think it was Dusk Banner. I got Wuyo over here, Mr. Nothing. I also got Lava Purgatory, and then I remember doing a 10x pool where I got Dusk as well as one copy of Suit. So my Suit is potential 2 because I got a second copy during Dusk Banner. I got them in the same 10x bag, which is pretty good, honestly. Leonhardt and Kyobei just popped in. I think Kyobei was a spook. Yeah, Kyobei basically spooked me right before the Rainbow Six Siege banner, I think. Yeah, it is. Rainbow Six Siege, yeah boy. Okay. Kyobei spooked me right before the Rainbow Six Siege banner. Then Rainbow Six Siege came about. I had Ash. I got Tachanka first, cleared the story stages first. It was like 1 a.m. Everyone was getting into the event. I just cleared all the story upwards all the way, dumped all of my sanity pots, got him to pot 6. I haven't even put for like these units yet. And then I eventually, settled down on spending some of my pools to get these Rainbow Six Siege members. What's that called? Let me think. Total number of pools I did for Rainbow Six Siege was 91, I think. Finally got Ash on my 91st pool. Not bad at all. Let me think. Passenger was a spook after the Ash event, I think. Walk in the Dusk was an event that happened around that time, I guess. Yeah, I guess this Walk in the Dusk happened right after Rainbow Six Siege Originum Dusk event. I got Passenger. He was a meme then, a lot of people say, his damage is too low, he's so clunky to use, nobody will ever use him, and Hypergriff was kind of sad that nobody was going to use him because his usage should be at least somewhat equal to Ifrit, if not more. So they buffed him like a total of 4 times, I think. Increase his base damage further, let his bouncers deal better damage, and the modules improving his kit. He's now one of the stronger 6-star casters. Don't sleep on him. Right, aside from that, I also got Todifons. I'd like to Todifondo my way into her thighs. I'm just saying. Heavy Rain was the welfare unit. I just happened to get her. Franca came fairly late, and I honestly wanted to pull for her. Well, if she came earlier, I would have pulled for her because I valued her ability to basically bypass. I value her ability to bypass defense, which is over here, to ignore the target's defense when attacking. I actually value that a fair bit, but she came fairly late. If she had come earlier and I had, I had the resources to pull for her, I would have raised her to a much higher degree than she is right now, just sitting at E0 level 5. Basically 0 investments except just to round out the number and make it nice and presentable. Akafuyu was a pot 6 over here. I don't remember. Were you from the... I think so, yes. I think Akafuyu was from the Undertides event. I managed to get six copies of Akafuyu. I got 1 copy of Skadi Corrupting Heart. I don't think I got the other party, did I? Who came with Skadi? Kausit? Yeah, I think Kausit came with Skadi, but I didn't pull Kausit during that banner. I think I pulled it on the off banner after that banner, which is kind of awkward, but yeah. Gladia to pot 6, E2 level 88, fairly straightforward, fairly standard. She's a welfare unit. It only makes sense that she be leveled to that degree. That was when I first got Blaze, I think. Blaze was also a popular unit that I borrowed in my support units, at least up until a certain point where I, hit critical mass with my teams and didn't need to rely on didn't have to rely on using support units that much anymore. I basically had like my own team going. I stabilized to a point where I don't have to borrow other units unless I really needed it. Unless I really needed a specific niche for clearing a stage. For example, Mountain S2. Just an example, of course. I managed to get Blaze and I got Waifu, but I never really managed to get Calcit during that banner. However, I remember getting Calcit after that banner, during Carnelian's banner. Carnelian had I don't remember the units that came with Carnelian, but I'm pretty sure Indigo was one of them. Indigo, Carnelian, and one other 5-star. I don't remember who it is. Flint? Was it Flint? I don't remember. Anyway, got Calcit during Carnelian banner, raised her to like level 80 so far. Thinking of whether or not I want to raise her to level 88, join the Hall of the Elites, but I surprisingly don't use Calcit that much. She's strong, yes, make no mistake, she's strong, but I don't know. I like playing however the hell I like. Some days I just like to play with meta units. Some days I just like playing with really niche units, like a grumpy bear over here. Anyway, Indigo was an interesting unit because she's part of Iberia. I've done Iberia Knights for one of the events, which is quite fun. But I'm not planning on doing it for every event. I'm not that hard. I'm not that sort of hard subscriber for a specific playstyle. I think the diversity is one of the better ways you can enjoy this game. Pick weird, unusual units from like the 5-star pool or the 4-star pool. See if you can clear the stage with them. And sometimes even just the 3 stars is enough. Economize the clear as much as you can. I find myself having more fun playing it that way rather than, forcing my way through. Let me think. Bena's event was during the Bountiful Harvest event. That was Arketo's event, I think. Bena was the free unit from Arketo's event, if I'm not wrong. If I'm not mistaken, at least. I think so, yes, I think so. I think, Bena was the welfare unit during Arketo's event. I got Arketo in like 27 pools, I think. No, was it? Yeah, I think I got Arketo in like 27 pools. I told myself, if you're not gonna get XCR banners anytime soon, you might as well get Arketo. Maybe she'll be a good substitute. Spoilers, she was an okay substitute. And part of it is that I don't regret raising Arketo to this level because she has this skill point restoration skill for snipers, which meant that some snipers, for example, Horny Meow over here, I can't believe I'm bringing her as an example. Horny Meow over here can benefit with her S1 dealing a lot more damage because her 3 skill point requirement is much easier to meet compared to like some of the other snipers. And she does a whole lot of damage while reducing defense at the same time. The damage on Horny Meow exponentiates a lot, even if it's just on an S1, and I'm glad that I got Arketo. Moving along, Chen the Holung Day event rolled around. As you can see over here, Tequila and La Pluma, they are siblings, adopted siblings, but still siblings. Yeah, I raised both of them. Tequila was the welfare unit. La Pluma came around because I was pulling for No, I was pulling for Mizuki, I think. I made this long complaint and rant about how I don't want to raise Chowder. I don't wish to get Chowder. How I don't want to support the sort of toxic culture behind Chowder. And then I raised her anyway, and she's now pot 2. Don't worry though, even though she's level 50 like this, it's only ever because I needed the It's only ever because I needed to answer my friends' needs. So some of them needed a slightly cheaper chowder. They asked if anyone had like what's it called? Had a chowder with at least pot 2 or pot 5 or pot 6, for example. I sometimes I put my chowder up for what's it called, borrowing sometimes, although I don't really want to. I only ever raised her level begrudgingly. I haven't actually used her in that many stages, except when I want to, mess around with some meta units and so on. But even then, it's just to clear the stage. But after clearing that stage, I still go back to my old ways and try and clear it with my waifu. You probably know who my waifu is. It's Winter Bear. It's Rosa. Anyway, Mizuki over here. Mizuki Gaming Rise Up. Mizuki was an interesting unit because he's kind of weird. I guess he feels like a support unit with his S2 supposed to inflict bind and stop units from move. Oh, one moment. Sorry about that. My clothes were done. Anyway, right. Mizuki was was in this weird place where he could stun units. He could stun a whole lot of units all in one go, but he wasn't very good at binding the enemies, and he also wasn't very good at dealing CC to the enemies. I mean, make no mistake, his S2 is very strong. Even at skill level 7, it's like 50% uptime, and that's really, really good, honestly. Even though the attack isn't a large increase, but the attack interval reducing and binding these enemies like that, he was basically a version of a Carnelian that I could place on the ground tiles. And if you've seen how I've raised Carnelian, you know how much I like that playstyle. I like Mizuki. Mizuki Gaming Rise Up. But yeah, it was hard to justify using him in a lot of the stages. That being said, I did clear a couple of daily max risks with Mizuki, so Mizuki Gaming Rise Up. Yeah, boy. Okay. Finally got my first copy of Executor. He was an interesting sniper, I think. Yes, he has this talent to ignore defense, but ignoring the defense just means that, the amount of defense you deal with each attack is lowered just by that little bit. But when you have enemies like Patriot with like over 1,000, with like over 2,000, or when you have units like the crossbow guys with 3,000 defense, it doesn't inspire much. I've never really raised him as a result. Feels bad, man. That's also around the time where I got Zima, Grumpy Bear over here. Very nice. Helager was an interesting addition. I think Helager was during CC5. Was it? No, it can't be, can it? When was CC5? Why can't I remember? CC5 was the one where everyone was singing "Let's Get This Party Started." This very techno based. I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember, but I remember Mulberry being Chapter 9's release. When did CC5 come again? I'm not gonna worry myself to death with this. I'm not gonna think about that too hard, but yeah. You can see sort of the flow of it. This was from Guaranteed, I think. Helaga was from Guaranteed. Zima was from Guaranteed. There were only 1 copies. Mulberry, I have 4 copies of. I don't know why. I know a lot of people have this debate between Mulberry or Honeyberry. I think Mulberry's S2 is stronger than Honeyberry's, than any of Honeyberry's skills, because Mulberry, what Mulberry does effectively is preventive, which is basically what Nightingale S3 is known for. So if you recognize the power of Nightingale S3 and its ability to prevent res damage, which thereby reduces the amount of healing you need to do, Mulberry is of the same vein. She's able to reduce the elemental damage that your units take, so she doesn't have to commit that much healing in the first place. Again, people will say, just use Mulberry with Honeyberry, but no, I'm not gonna think about that too hard. Right, before I move on there, you probably see that I got Exia over there, but Up to this point with Mulberry was when I finally got Schwartz to pot 6. My Schwartz was potential 6 before Exia came home. Before you came home. And you know the funny part of it all is after I got my Schwartz to pot 6 from like, you know, recruitment tags, like I pulled for like recruitment tags, I got like a couple of top operators. I got 4 Schwartz from there and like 1 from pulling in a banner, I think. And yeah, I have no idea what just happened because I got pot 6 Schwartz before Exu came home. I decided, oh, you know what, I might as well get 1 copy of Exia from like the shop. I traded 180 yellows for her. And the next banner the next banner right after that, I just put for a guarantee and boop, pot 2 Exia. I hate humanity. I hate humanity sometimes. Anyway, Flamebringer, this was when the Records Restoration came about, I think. Oh yeah, Records Restoration. Was Granny here? I have to check, where did Granny go? Granny was obtained here before Elysium, so Granny, I mean, using this as a reference point, you can sort of guess where exactly my journey was in the Arknights. So this was Elysium. This was Dark Knight's Memoir. I cleared Thorn's event. I managed to break past Gaviel's event. Moved all the way up to the next CC, I think, CC3. That's when I got Bagpipe. Then finally got Horny Meow. What's that called? The Suitor event. I don't remember the name for the Suitor event. Jesus Christ, I really can't remember. Oh. Then moving along, I reached Rosmonti's banner. Never got Rosmonti's, got Mudrock instead. Not bad. After that was Mansfield Break, I think. That was when Robin came around. Where's Granny? Granny should be here by now. I have no idea what's going on anymore. I see Flamebringer here, but I don't see Granny. Did I get Granny after Flamebringer? Really? Am I that blind? Am I really that blind? I'm still doing this on recording. Oh god. Help. Send help. I must be blind. I can't see where Granny is. I should be able to see where Granny is over here. What? How did I get Granny before Elysium then? Wait, no, acquisition date. Did I set it upside down? No, my acquisition date was arranged correctly. That's not a mistake. Okay, so apparently we got Granny's, Granny and the Buried Treasure event before the W event came around. I managed to get a copy of Granny there. I didn't even realize that was when the rerun happened. I'm glad I did this video, but at the same time, oh god. My memory is in shatters and I have to record it somewhere before I forget. I already forgot, and that's already a problem. Flamebringer came with Operation Intelligence. I never really did clear any of the stages. Unfortunate. I wish I did. I'm not even sure if Flamebringer's event had stages or if it's just that weird Stories of Afternoon event where you just have story parts to read and stuff to grind in normal story stages. I don't want to think about that too hard. Oh god. Right, after that was Wild Main's event. That was, what was that event called? It wasn't Blemishine's event. It was Neil the Radiant Knight's event, I think. God, I can't remember. Ugh. But yeah, Neil the Radiant Knight came down. I got Wild Main because she was the welfare. I also got Justice Knight, welfare again. Pudding, I got 1 copy of. Racer to E1 level 5 just for the base skill, just in case I need her, you never know. Coral Serum was an interesting unit as well. I used him for a while, for silencing some units during trust farms, but he hasn't seen much use ever since. unfortunately. Flametail I raised, but I didn't really commit. You see, her skills are still all at rank 7. I haven't actually invested masteries into her. That's when I got by a copy of Mostima, I think. Mostima was during CC7, which means CC5 and 6 have already passed. I just don't remember when or where. I remember Chen the Holongday not being part of CC5 at all. I remember her being being used in like a few stages for like CC6, especially the drone maps. But you know, I only used her with the support. With the support risks, I didn't use her for like clearing the max risk stages at all. Not at all, in fact. I only used Rosa and Aketo for those stages because they weren't that difficult then. And even then, when the drone map was difficult, I didn't use Holongday at all. I used arts because arts scaling in this game is much better than physical. So, yeah, when your enemies are all like, I don't know, fucking 3.4 times harder than they used to be, you want arts damage over physical for the most part. Unless, of course, the tech prevents you and bans you from it actively. Right, Flametail Coral Serum, that was during Nail the Radiant Knights event, I think. Nail the Radiant Knights event should be before CC6, I think. And then, what's that called? And then there was a period of time where I straight up just didn't pull units at all. Sort of went stone turkey for a long time, which is why there were no like new units entering the fray, pretty much. And then Mostima came around during one of the banners before CC6. I was just pulling for guarantees just to complete out the collection and so on. Then the Kirak event came around. I happened to get Gnosis and Aurora, Polar Bear and Gnosis before I even got Kirak. So yeah, for this event, for Break the Ice, I happened to pull for the banners before I tried the story stages. It was a little bit jumbled there. NCD Joseph Lu over here was a gift for the collaboration between Hypergriff and the Joseph Lu animation. I think they managed to restore an animation of like this deer thing going on going around in human societies and so on. It wasn't that bad. Wasn't that good either though. Phantom finally managed to join my banner a bit too late, but yeah, I got one copy of him in the pools, and then I decided to trade for one copy in the yellow search shop just to reduce his DP cost by 1. I have plans of raising him, but not right now. I have plans to raise him at the very least. After that, Shalem was here. Black Knight was a unit I used. For for a while during the Ling event. Basically just using Black Knight to finish off some of the were guys that leaked from the front. So yeah, Black Knight event aside, this was when IS2 came around. I got Iris, I got Owlstar from the pools, and then I got Ling, which is not bad. Cruz was the welfare unit. I sort of blanked out of the next few banners. I'm saving up for Spelter right now, or Sunchain, or Spectre the Unchained, or whatever name you prefer for her. And Kazemaru, as well as Enforcer, are the newest units join my banner. There you go, a comprehensive look at my history in Arknights. It took over an hour, but I'm glad I did this commentary. I'll see you all next time. I hope more people on YouTube, on the YouTube, will join into the conversation and discuss, share with everybody how your journey in Arknights was like. Share with everyone. Everyone has their own story to tell, and I've just told mine, so it's now your turn. Adios. Bye bye.